Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me well. As Pok was saying, that in a period of my life, I became a refugee. But I want to shed a light a little bit what happened before that. So in 2010, I came to the Netherlands to work as a skilled immigrant labor. And there in the Netherlands, I had a lucrative salary, I had a pension scheme, I had premium insurance, and I even had myself a dog. And this is the situation that most Dutch people had before we entered into the Corona crisis, as they call it. Uh, in January 2014, so 4 years after this luxury life, my work contract came to an end, and I was more or less forced into applying for asylum. Why? Because my roots, my nationality is Syrian. I carry the Syrian passport, and in 2014 it was the climax of the civil war in Syria, so I couldn't go back to my country. Now, from January 2014, I applied for asylum in September 2014. So there is almost a gap of 9 months. I've told my story for the past 3 years, but I've never shared why did it take me 9 months to apply for asylum. And the reason is one word, it is uncertainty. So moving from this Dutch working environment into an asylum camp in 24 hours, my brains couldn't take that. My ego couldn't take that. So I was uncertain of where am I going to. And I tried to put several scenarios and several options and several uh, opportunities in my head, but I really couldn't get anywhere. And 9 months I was stuck. In physics, there is a principle called the uncertainty principle, and it was designed in 1927. It was invented in 1927, where a German scientist claimed that you cannot really measure the speed of the particle, and you cannot measure the position of a particle at the same time. You cannot measure two things at the same time and have an outcome. If you measure the speed, the position has a different outcome. And if you measure the position first, the speed will have a different outcome. So the uncertainty principle in physics, where position and momentum and any factor that comes in your life, you are trying to measure it and you're trying to control the outcome of it, that's nearly impossible. Something happened in those 9 months that triggered my brain to say, hey, you have to apply for asylum. And that was September 11, 2014, when I was reading the newspapers, and I read that there is a boat with 500 migrants on board. The traffickers have rammed the boat, and on purpose, they sunk it. And this is where it hit me. Like, hey, I'm living in my own apartment in The Hague, and I'm bitching applying for asylum in the Netherlands. It's literally taking a train from Den Haag Central Station or from The Hague Central Station into north of Holland in a city called Ter Apel. So how hard could this be? Look, just a day before, those people drowned in the sea trying to cross the Mediterranean and come do the same thing that I'm trying to do. And then the second thing that hit me is, while I'm closing my house and going to apply for asylum, I flushed the toilet, and I flushed it with drinking water. And here where I started what I call counting my blessings. And it was that moment when I started counting my blessings that the idea of uncertainty started to ease a little bit by little bit by little bit. So in the lowest point of my life, I kind of paused and I went to look and to appreciate what I have. So after hearing the horrible stories of refugees, what they had to come through to come to Holland, I saw how blessed I was applying for asylum in the Netherlands. In fact, I went to the refugee camp with a patat sack of patat oorlog and a little bit ketchup and mayonnaise and some onions on it, and with a cheeseburger in my hand, I'm like munching through these things, sitting in a train comfortably going to the asylum camp. So counting the blessings in such an environment today really helps, as well as try to look into your core. What are your core beliefs? For example, my core beliefs are being the best, having a lot of friends. I love power. I love resourcefulness, and I have a vision. I have a vision on where technology can be applied to create a better world. I have resourcefulness where I can use the tools that I have in my hand today. What do I have today in my hand? As a entrepreneur, as a startup founder, as a employee, or as just as a father or a mother, what do you have today in your hand to make your situation a little bit easier? What can you use tools in your hand today? So looking at those core beliefs and core values help me overcome this uncertainty as well. So in the camp, what I looked at is, what do I have in my hand? I have my smartphone, I have my internet connection, I had my Bitcoin wallet, I have my English language, and I have my passion and my vision on Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrencies. So where did that lead me next? While I was in the camp, from my smartphone and from my laptop, I started doing remote work. And look, today, remote work is the number one thing that people are talking about. I worked in translation. I worked as a moderator. I worked as a content writer. I worked a little bit as a editor. So all these things helped me make a little bit of money. And with that money, I went to meetups. I started presenting myself, talking to people, explaining how Bitcoin works, explaining all these things that Bitcoin can do in the future. And I met my instructors from a MOOC program that I joined also online. 4 years ago, when I telling people I'm doing my master's in digital currencies and blockchain technology online, they tell me I'm lazy. I don't like to go to school. I don't like to go to university. But again, today, online education is the second thing that people are massively talking about. So after I finished my MOOC program in digital currencies and blockchain technology, and after I met my instructors face to face, the university decided to offer me a scholarship to do my master's. So I got a scholarship for 12,000 euros. I finished my master's while I was in a refugee camp, and I went out from the refugee camp with a master's degree, with discovering myself and what my core beliefs are. And I knew for a fact that whatever will come in the future, there will be nothing more harder than leaving your own home, leaving your own house, leaving your own family, leaving everything and all your memories and all your life the past 30 years, leaving this and coming confined in an isolated in an area for the next 2 years. So when the crisis started here in the Netherlands, I tried to talk to everyone and tell them, like, guys, I went through this before. You know, the only thing that we can do now is try to stay positive, try to anchor to what you believe in, discover your purpose, and you have an opportunity now. The next 6 months are really one of the once in a lifetime opportunity that could come to you to build something or to change something about yourself and to improve yourself and come out from this really stronger. I did that, and I'm not even Dutch. You speak Dutch, you're living in your own houses, You're flushing your toilet with drinking water. You have supermarkets open. The government is supporting you, and it's all possible. So that's the message I want to leave with you for tonight. That it's all possible. Thanks.